Hello, my name is Bonnie Burke, and I work for Workforce Resource. Today's presentation is on stress management. You may have just been given notice from your employer that there will be a large reduction in their workforce, or that their business will be closing, or you may already have been unemployed. Losing a job can be an emotionally wrenching experience. Typically, there are several stages of emotions when a person loses their job. These are all normal. When we first hear about it, we typically go into denial. Things will turn around, they need me. Or you may become angry. Next, typically we begin to blame others. It's our supervisor's fault, it's management's fault, it's human resources. Then we move into self-criticism. What did I do wrong? It is not your fault. Your company changed. Recognizing these stages are important. Instead of looking back, we have to accept the loss and look forward. Easier said than done. Yet looking forward will move you into that next job. In this presentation, I will give you some tools and tips to help you move forward through these stages quickly and hopefully lighten your load. The 3 points I would like you to be able to take away from this webinar are: I want you to be able to identify what is stress, and along with its symptoms, its sources, and its potential effects. I also hope that you can take away and be able to demonstrate an understanding of some tools and techniques to be able to reduce stress in your life. And also, I'm going to encourage you to develop a plan for minimizing job search and also work stress. So to begin with, what is stress? We hear about it all the time. Well, this is the definition. Stress is a physical and an emotional response or reaction to any perceived threat or change. Something that causes strong feelings, typically worry or anxiety. So do you find yourself worrying? Do you find yourself being anxious? That's stress. I wanted to share this little cartoon with you. I don't know if that's his wife or a counselor. However, she says, "You worry too much. It doesn't do any good." The little guy responds by, "It does for me. 95% of the things I worry about never happen." Is that true for you also? Stress can affect us in so many different ways. I'd like you to watch a couple of minutes of this video, and it's going to define what is stress and how it can affect us.
What is the single most important thing we can do to manage our stress? A few years ago, we moved our family to France for 3 months. It was the time of the European Cup football championships, and so we would take our kids to the local bar to watch the game on TV. Watching the moods of people from different countries swing from pure joy to total anxiety to despair and back again was as entertaining as the game itself. And I wondered if there was any scientific analysis of how this kind of stress affects people. And it turns out there has been a study. In the quarterfinal of the 1996 championships between the French and Dutch teams, a draw at the end of overtime resulted in a sudden death penalty shootout, which was won by the French. When researchers looked back to see if there were health changes on that day, it turned out there was a relative increase in the risk of death from a heart attack by about 50% among the Dutch men on the day of the match compared with the 5 days on either side of the match. There was no such effect on French men, or women from either country for that matter. So this story is striking because it's about one event and really one negative health outcome of stress. But in reality, stress is very complex, multiple factors and multiple outcomes. The physiologist sees stress as increased blood pressure, heart rate, or changes in the chemicals that modulate the immune system. The social worker sees vulnerability with compromised social networks, coping, and problem-solving skills. The doctor sees increased visits. It's estimated that up to 70% of primary care visits are stress-related. Worse health outcomes, bad self-treatment with alcohol and drugs, gateways to depression and anxiety, and of course a worse quality of life. These perspectives represent the standard negative picture of stress, but I believe we also see a positive side to stress. Athletes who are able to find a stress level that is high, but not too high for optimum performance. Executives or mothers or aid workers who manage stress like a bicycle tire. They regulate enough pressure to keep rolling, but not too much so that if they hit a bump, they explode.
So I want to take a few minutes now and just talk about some of the things that the doctor talked about in the video. How can stress affect us? Well, it definitely can affect us cognitively. It can make us forgetful. Do you ever go to the refrigerator and you forget what you went there for? It happens to me all the time. I think it's normal, though, to be honest with you. However, if we're forgetting a phone number that we always used to know, if we're forgetting what we're supposed to be getting at the store, if we're forgetting more and more every day, it may be a sign that stress is affecting us. Stress can also affect our ability to think clearly. It affects us in a way that makes it really difficult sometimes to concentrate. And it also can impair our sense of humor. You can watch a sitcom and not smile. That's when stress has really affected you. Stress can also affect us physically. I clearly remember when I had lost my job. I had headaches that I thought would never end. I had such digestive problems that I thought, I ate way too much. Some people under stress can't eat at all. Stress can also affect our blood pressure, and it can also lower our immune systems. People who are under a lot of stress typically will get more colds and more flu. Stress can also affect our behavior. For some people, they cannot sleep. That was me. Chronic insomnia. Or for some people that are under a lot of stress, they sleep all the time. It's really, really difficult to get out of bed in the morning. It affects their eating habits. It can also affect their alcohol and drug use. Recent studies have showed that in the state of Wisconsin, this year alone, more people have died from drug abuse than from car accidents. Wow, the first time I heard that. And many, many of those drug abuse overdoses are from prescription drugs. Stress can also result in injuries. People who typically are under a lot of stress may not take the safety steps that they should, may stumble, may trip, may not just be able to pay attention to detail. Stress can also affect our emotions. For some people, it can result in depression. Serious clinical depression is completely different than really feeling out of sorts for a few days. Clinical depression needs to be treated by a physician. It can cause anxiety. We've already talked about fatigue, but it also can affect our emotions of anger. Little things can really set us off. I remember sometimes that I'm embarrassed to say that I did get angry. I mainly took it out on my poor family. However, I can honestly say I don't think I look like the woman in that picture. I want to talk about stress and work. If you're currently working or think about your last job, do you look like that kitty before work? And is that what you look like after work? I hope not. But I want to talk about stress at work. Remember, the definition of stress is something that causes strong feelings. Think of how many occupations where strong feelings are a part of their day-to-day life. If you are an EMT, if you are a firefighter, if you are a police officer, the stress of that job can be overwhelming sometimes. How about if you're a truck driver and you drive in Wisconsin winters? Or you drive a long distance to your job. Some people drive 30 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes to their job. Wisconsin winters can be brutal on our stress. How about if you are a waitress? That can really produce strong feelings. I was a waitress for over 16 years. That's when I was in my 20s. I still have nightmares that I forgot the order, that I spilled my orders. So stress can cause strong feelings, it can make us forget, it can make us have those dreams as well. What if you have an administrative type job and your workload is overwhelming? You may have to come in early if you stay late. To do that occasionally is absolutely fine. However, if that's a normal part of your job, that workload can cause stress. I have a little survey that I want you to take, and it's called a workplace stress survey. If you're not working currently, just think about your last job when you answer the questions. Is all stress bad? No. I want to talk about some good stress. Have you heard of the term eustress? Eustress gives one the feeling of fulfillment. I'm going to give you some examples. That's actually from dictionary.com. So look at these Olympic skaters. This is their job. Is this good stress, eustress, or is it bad stress? Well, it depends on the outcome. If they win, it is eustress. They are elated. All of that hard work is absolutely worth it. If they injure themselves or if they come in last, they don't get to experience that joy. Good stress or bad stress? If you're a student, the hours of studying, taking those tests, the financial burden, yet on the day you graduate, the eustress, absolutely. I want to give you a few more examples of eustress at work. Well, in manufacturing, some of the things that can cause a good stress are deadlines. And you might be thinking, what? If you have a deadline and you have the skills, the resources to meet those deadlines, it can be so fun, it can be so exciting, especially if you have an employer that appreciates that, gives you that high five and that thank you. Meeting goals. Some of our employers will give us very specific goals that they want us to accomplish. And when we meet those goals, it can be such a good feeling. How about when we get a promotion? Wow, that could be such a great feeling. Chances are you've worked hard, you've studied, may have taken some extra classes. Getting that promotion can also help your family life as well. On an average, we spend more than 1/3 of our day at work, if we're lucky. Sometimes if you work an 8-hour day and you may now have to work some overtime, don't forget about that commute time. We spend a lot of our work day when we're working at work. I'd like you to list some of the stresses from your last job. Give me a few examples. Was it reports? Was it deadlines? Was it your coworkers? How about your supervisor? I found this wonderful video and this amazing woman that I want you to watch her video. Can you think of the joy of stress? Well, her name is Loretta LaRouche, and I hope you enjoy her humor. She always makes me smile. So I encourage you to watch this and write down some of the ways that Loretta talks about handling stress.
I have been teaching stress management for a good many years, and it's absolutely mind-boggling how it has become the definition for the 21st century. You no longer hear anybody come towards you and say, gosh, I'm having a great day. More than likely you hear, oh, I'm so stressed today. Gosh, I've got an endless amount of stuff to do, and I don't know how I'm going to get it done, and yada, yada, yada. We've all heard it, haven't we? Mm-hmm. But what do we do about it? And why is this so? When Hans Selye discovered and researched stress, and he gave it a definition, it was really the utilization of the ability to discern when there was danger. That's really what stress is about. Stress is about, how do I know I'm in danger? And how do I stay away from danger? And stress is defined really in two ways, because there's also a positive side to stress. So we have distress, which is the kind that happens when you're confronted with something, a challenge, and you have to really rise to the occasion, whether it's a car coming towards you on the highway and you have to divert your attention, or when somebody's following you and could possibly mug you and you have to escape. And then there's eustress, which is the positive side of stress, which most of us never even tap into, do we? We never think that, gee, I better have some stress because otherwise I'm really dead. Because when you have no stress, you can't even sit in a chair. You're a blob. Blobs have no stress. Corpses have no stress. They're stiff, but they have no stress. Stress is something that we want to embrace in some way. We want to say, gee, I have some stress today. I got to get up out of my bed. I got to get on the road. I got to get to work. I got things to do, places to go. I'm so excited. I got stress.
Next, I want to start talking about some things that you can do to lighten your load. To lighten your load when you're job searching. To lighten your load if you've lost your job, or to lighten the load of work stress. If you've attended my Back to Basic webinar, you may have already seen the slide in some of these tips. I firmly believe it does not hurt to hear things twice. I love this saying. It is not the load that breaks us down. It's the way we carry it. I'm not telling you to carry a pile of wood on your back like that. However, I thought it represented that quote fairly well. It's how we carry it. Well, how do we lighten our load? Well, to me, the very most important and easy thing to do, and it doesn't cost any money, is laughter. Did you smile when you saw that picture of the baby? Well, I hope so. That's my adorable little granddaughter. And those sunglasses just kill me every time I see it. This YouTube video went viral. You may have already seen it. I love it. It's about a dad who had been looking for a job. He had several interviews, and he got a rejection letter in the mail. Do you know what that feels like? Pretty upsetting. Very stressful time in someone's life. Well, he starts tearing up that letter, and his baby starts to laugh. I hope this makes you laugh too. Did the baby at least make you smile? I bet it did. Another way to help you lighten your load is music. The power of the internet. There are so many inspiring songs out there. And YouTube, there's so many moving videos. The one that I want you to briefly listen to me, is so calming. When I was studying, when I was in school, when I'm doing research for a project from work, I try to put this type of music on. It helps me relax and it helps me focus. work for you. You may like some different type of music. Find out what works for you, and you can lighten your load starting with laughter and music. Another tip that I want to talk about on how to lighten your load is with food. Food is so expensive. I cannot get over every time I go to the grocery store what the total is. Yikes. However, when we are looking for a job, when we are under so much stress, remember our immune system is not at its optimum. This is a time when it's extremely important to eat good food. I'm not talking about ice cream, which I'm seriously addicted to, but I'm talking about food that has protein, has carbs that are not crazy carbs, fruits, vegetables, and don't forget to drink a lot of water. Avoid foods that's going to spike your sugar, such as coffee, such as candy, and then within a half an hour, your sugars are going to drop and you're going to feel just as miserable. So lighten your load by paying attention to the type of food that you are eating. Another tip to help lighten your load is actually doing stretching and deep breathing. When we're under a lot of stress, we tend to breathe really shallow. We're not taking those really deep, cleansing breaths. We're not getting enough oxygen in, and we're not getting rid of the carbon dioxide. Practice it. If you have to take a test, or if you are going for a job interview and you find yourself shaking a little bit, you're so nervous, do some good deep breaths and do some stretches. Maybe listen to some of your favorite music on the way. They all will help. This website from the Mayo Clinic can show some really easy stretches that can be done at work.
Standing for long periods of time or sitting at a desk all day can take a toll on your neck. To prevent or reduce stiffness and pain, try simple neck stretches throughout the day. For the first stretch, lower your chin to your chest while keeping your shoulders nice and straight. Hold the stretch for 15 to 30 seconds. You'll feel tension in the back of your neck. Relax and slowly lift your chin to the starting position. Next, rotate your head to one side while keeping your shoulders nice and straight. Hold the stretch for 15 to 30 seconds. You'll feel tension in the side of your neck and your shoulder. Relax and slowly return to the starting position.
With my job was a safety manager, we had a stretch at work program. After our employees were at work every day for 3 hours and we had our first break, we would all get together in the break room and do some really cool stretches. I mean, it even feels good now just to do one of them. And so during that time, we would laugh about our family. We would try not to talk about work. We would connect, stretch, and breathe deep. We all felt typically so much better when we went back to work. Did everyone love it? No. Maybe about 10% of people, they were pretty wimpy. They would do this kind of stretch. Their heart wasn't into it. But I can't worry about the 10%. I really focused on the 90% of our employees who really benefited from the stretching, the time together, and the deep breathing. Another way to lighten your load is mini breaks. The weather here in Wisconsin has just been beautiful. I know it's going to be changing. Those mini breaks of getting away from your job, take those small breaks. If this is winter, get out there in the snow, put your boots on, put your coat on. A short walk in fresh air can do so much for us. So get away from your job whenever possible and take those small 20-minute breaks. And why do I say 20 minutes? I know most of the time our employers maybe only give us 10 or 15-minute breaks, but they may give us a lunch break that's 30 minutes. If so, during that 30 minutes, try hard to get some type of exercise. Because with a 20-minute walk, it doesn't have to be a run, our brains are going to start producing more endorphins. It's a scientific fact. Our brain recognizes exercise as this fight or flee, and that endorphins are what our brain naturally produces to that response. it is a feeling that people can become addicted to. Have you ever been a runner or, like me, a walker? If you're a walker or a runner and do it every single day, and then if one day you become ill or something happens that you just can't get out there, do you find yourself getting crabby? And why you're getting crabby is because your brain wants those endorphins. 20 minutes of exercise is a free and easy way to lighten your load. Another tool that I want to talk about is time management. As adults, even when we are job searching, is so important for us to look at, because with all of the demands of I have to do all this work for unemployment, or I have to do all these job searches, or I have to update my resume, and don't forget I have to water the plants, feed the dog, make supper, and do the laundry. Wow, the end of our day, we can be so exhausted. So a couple of the time management tips that I want to talk to you about is prioritizing. The importance of dealing with just one thing at a time. There's some research out there that says multitasking is a myth. Yet we live in a world that tells us we should be able to text, watch television, and maybe yell at the kids or do the dishes all at the same time. Well, we can, yet we are not doing them well. So try this. Do one thing at a time and do it well. Another tool is, if possible, delegate. If you have children, if you have a family or a spouse or even a friend, can they do some of those things that are on your list that can lighten your load? Can you manage interruptions? How many times are you in the middle of updating your resume or in the middle of a chore and the phone rings? Or a family member comes in and says, "Hey, honey." Managing those interruptions might be as easy as turning that phone off for a designated period of time every day. It may be just for 30 minutes to start with, yet when that phone doesn't ring, you can concentrate on what needs to be done. Some other things that I want to talk about that might help lighten your load. Oftentimes, the stressors in our life can be overwhelming and we need help. If you're working, oftentimes companies have a human resource department. Those employees are trained to help support their employees. Talk to your human resource department, because in addition to HR being trained, they may have a service called an Employee Assistance Program or an EAP. I'll tell you a personal story how EAP helped me. As an adult, I was working and also going to college. I had 3 children. My youngest child, I love him dearly, but he was a crazy teenager. He would make me crazy. I had no idea. So to help me get through that time, I would call our EAP program and I would ask, what tools, what tips do you have for me to help with a teenage son who has a mind of his own and is not listening to me at all? They really saved my soul, not to mention my relationship with my son. Children do not come with directions around their neck. I wish they did. Yet programs such as your Human Resource Department or the EAP may help. Another amazing resource that I want to share with you is United Way 211. If you're not working, you don't have an EAP system or an HR department to give you this support. United Way 211 is a free resource. You can go to their website and you can look at many of the different programs that they offer. Another really important tool that I want to share with you that I feel can help lighten your load is the importance of having a support system. Everyone's support system is different, and your support system is going to change throughout your life. However, do you have a friend that you can call on? Do you have a friend that maybe you just need them to listen? Do you have a family member that can help? Do you have a family member that can maybe help with the children? That can maybe help clean your house? friends or family can be very, very valuable. However, if you live in an area where your family isn't nearby, or you don't have the right type of friends for this type of support system, think of doing some activities to create a support system. You could do some volunteer work. There are so many volunteer opportunities in our area. It'd be a great place to network, great opportunity to learn some new skills, and a great opportunity to form a support system. How about your local churches? Another opportunity to have a support system. Or you could take a class. Our technical colleges offer inexpensive evening continuing ed classes. All are great ways to help you form that support system. That support system, I feel, is so important during the times in our life when we have just lost our job, when we are job searching, or when we have a new job and we're a little stressed with the expectations. I'd like to review some of the main points from this webinar. Can you list 4 ways stress may affect us? It can affect us cognitively. It can affect our behavior. It can affect our health. Is all stress bad for us? Why or why not? No. Remember eustress. Eustress is that feeling of accomplishment, the feeling that you've done it. How does 20 minutes of exercise help relieve stress? 20 minutes of exercise. Remember, it doesn't have to be running. It can be a simple walk. Our brains produce endorphins, and those endorphins can relax our body, and you just feel better after 20 minutes. List 3 foods that may help relieve stress. Remember I said, I love ice cream. I also love coffee. When taken together, within 30 minutes, I'm sure to feel miserable. So when under a lot of stress, make sure that you eat plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables. Make sure that you don't skip meals. Drink lots of water, and look at things such as pretzels and nuts. Eat on a regular basis. Why is it important to recognize stress when we're doing job search? Doing job search can be depressing. It can take us several weeks, if not several months, to find that next job. Job searching can make us feel sometimes, what's wrong with me? Why can't I find a job? It's so important during that time period to take good care of yourself. Workforce Resource hopes the information from this presentation was helpful for you. Our goal was to give you some tips and tools to help lighten your load during this stressful time. We are here to provide you with any further assistance that you may need. If you are not currently enrolled in our program, please contact us at your local job center or go to our website and complete our online application. Once you are on our home page, just click Job Seekers Application. Workforce Resource can offer several services to help you gain employment. They include everything from helping you develop a winning resume to one-on-one counseling for career planning. We can also help with short-term training. Funding may be available to help you update or even acquire new skills. We have several other workshops and presentations just like this available for you. Or we can also offer on-the-job training and numerous other support services. Thank you so much for attending this presentation, and have a great day.